Hi, I'm Mickey Weston. I'm a former Major League Baseball player, and I'd love to tell you my faith journey. I did not grow up in a Christian home. My parents kind of got mad at the church, and so when I was 5 years old, we stopped going. And so as I was growing up, my gods became football, basketball, and baseball. That's what I lived for. As I was getting my teen years, I was getting pretty good, especially at baseball and football. But another God rose up in my life, and that was the God of my peers. If there was a God back then, I thought, well, it was more important to me what my peers thought of me than if there was a God. But I remember when I was about 16 years old, I was a star in the Flint area, star athlete, football and baseball. I was an honor student, but I just felt like something was missing in my life. And I remember going out into the middle of a field and looking up and saying, God, who are you and who am I? I feel like something's missing in my life. And so I made the decision on that day to begin going to church. And so I went to a church that really didn't talk about a personal relationship with God, but more a system of do's and don'ts. But I was there every Sunday. I was at the parties on Friday and Saturday night, but I was in church on Sunday morning. There was no life change in me, but when I would sit in the pew and I would stare at the cross, I knew there was something to this Jesus. I just didn't know what it was. And that's the way my life went for the next 2 years, and I ended up getting an academic scholarship to go to Eastern Michigan University. And I thought, okay, that's where I'm going to really set the world on fire. And at the end of fall practice, I was the last pitcher kept out of 15 pitchers. I was number 15 on the baseball team. You go to college and you don't want to go to class. Guess what? You can hit the snooze. My grades started to fall. And when my eyes were opened at that point to that there was nothing lasting in my life. There was nothing in my life that couldn't be taken away from me. An injury would take away baseball. If I didn't start going to class, I was going to flunk out. And at the right time, my eyes were open, and there was a group called, back then, Campus Crusade for Christ, and now it's called Cru, came and spoke to the baseball team. Coach allowed him to come in, and a swimmer shared his testimony about how he had tried everything to fill a void in his life, but nothing filled that void until he entered into a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. And as he spoke, my heart pounded. A week later, on February 15th, 1980, camp's director, Dave Borum, came into my dorm room, and he asked me 2 questions. He said, Mickey, if you were to die right now, would you spend eternity in heaven or hell? I didn't like the one option, so I said I would go to heaven. And he said, why? Why should God let you into heaven? And I didn't have a good answer. I tried to tell him how good I was and the good things that I'd done. I wasn't as bad as other people. But he said, can I share with you 2 verses? I said, yeah. I'd never opened a Bible on my own. And he opened up to Ephesians chapter 2, verses 8 and 9. And it says, for by grace are you saved through faith, that not of yourselves, it's a gift of God, not a result of works, lest any man should boast. And he said, Mickey, it's not about how good you are, that you can't ever be good enough to reach God, but God, seeing that we can never be good enough, came down to us. And Jesus lived a perfect life. He allowed men to crucify him. He shed his blood on the cross for the forgiveness of my sin. He died, he was buried, but he rose from the grave 3 days later to prove that he was God. And as Dave shared those words to me, I said, I'm in. And so on that day, I said a simple prayer, bowed my head, and I said, Jesus, I'm a sinner and I can't save myself. I believe that you lived that perfect life. I believe that you died, you were buried, and you rose again for me. Come into my life and make me the person you want me to be. And that day I was different from then on. I was changed. Dave, for the next 2 years, walked with me and taught me God's Word. He gave me a passion to read God's Word and to memorize God's Word and to tell others about who Jesus is. and He gave me the ability to play the game at a higher level. As a matter of fact, over the course of the next 2 years, I gained 11 miles an hour on my fastball. I went from being number 15 to being number 1 at Eastern Michigan. I got drafted to play professional baseball. Had the privilege to play professional baseball for 15 years. My wife and I, we saw ourselves as missionaries to baseball as we were playing the game. And I had the privilege of playing parts of 5 years in the major leagues. And I believe that God allowed me to do that, to do what I do today. For the last 30 years, I have been discipling men in the game of baseball, helping them to grow in their relationship with Christ, to understand their true identity in a relationship with Jesus, and then to live out a life of unlimited potential in the kingdom. And so now I serve as the executive director of Unlimited Potential Incorporated. And it's my privilege to take the gospel around the world. God has allowed me to go to 43 different countries using baseball as a tool to share who Jesus is. God is real, and He wants you to have a relationship with Him. And so I hope that you'll look to Him for your salvation.